Now, Russia's carried out drone and missile strikes on Ukrainian cities overnight as Ukraine targeted a Russian chemical plant. At least 6 people were killed in Ukraine, including a 6-month-old baby and a 12-year-old girl in Kyiv. A number of residential buildings were damaged in the capital and there were power outages in parts of the city. Ukraine's energy ministry said Russia's been attacking the country's energy infrastructure all night. The Ukrainian military, meanwhile, says it struck a chemical plant in the Bryansk region of southern Russia using Franco-British air-launched Storm Shadow missiles. It described the site as vital to Moscow's war effort. Russia hasn't commented. Well, the Kremlin's been warning the West not to give Ukraine weapons capable of long-range attacks. But Kyiv says it's imperative to target Russian facilities, which play a key role in Moscow's war against Ukraine. All of this comes as the White House has rowed back on plans for a summit between Presidents Trump and Putin aimed at ending the war in Ukraine. The US president said he didn't want to have a wasted meeting. The two leaders had agreed to meet for face-to-face talks in Hungary, but a White House official said there are now no plans for a summit soon. President Trump was asked by reporters why the meeting had been shelved, with the president indicating that Moscow's refusal to cease fighting along the current front line was a sticking point. Let's have a listen.
I said, go to the line of battle, the battlefield lines, and you pull back and you go home and everybody takes some time off because you got two countries that are killing each other. You got two countries that are losing 5,000 to 7,000 soldiers a week. So we'll see what happens. We haven't made a determination.
President Trump speaking there. Well, let's go straight to Kyiv and join my colleague John Sudworth, who is there for us. John, first of all, just bring us up to date about what's been happening where you are. And of course, there's also been attacks on the other side as well.
Yes, well, this city, Regina, once again echoing to the sound of explosions with ballistic missile warnings in place throughout the night. And across the wider country, attacks on other cities targeting energy infrastructure once again. And I can tell you also that we're just getting reports from Kyiv of a Russian strike on a kindergarten. Reports that the children are being evacuated. Obviously, deep concern about the possibility of injuries, waiting still for confirmation of that. Ukraine will say that there is no coincidence in any of this. These attacks come, of course, just a few hours after that announcement from the White House that President Trump's hoped-for summit with Vladimir Putin in Budapest was now being put on hold. Ukraine has said all along it does not believe Moscow is serious about peace. It believes its talk of engaging in that summit was simply a ruse, calling President Trump's bluff in order to persuade him not to supply Ukraine with the long-range Tomahawk missiles it was seeking. And I think President Zelensky will say, those warnings have come to pass over the last 12 hours or so, showing full well that Moscow is not interested in negotiating in good faith. As you say, Ukraine striking Russian targets too, hitting that chemical plant, which it says is part of Moscow's military machine.
And John, you talk about, of course, that meeting that for the moment is stalled. It comes after that tense meeting between President Zelensky and President Trump in the White House just last Friday. You touched on it already, but is the sense that diplomatic efforts are really hitting a roadblock, even though they have for many months?
Well, that's the big question now, Regina, of course. I mean, Ukraine certainly felt very worried after the Trump-Putin phone call on Friday and then that pretty harsh reception that they reportedly got in the White House. Questions as to whether this feeling that Washington was running out of patience with Moscow was misplaced. And in fact, Mr. Trump was swinging back the other way. If Washington's interpretation here is that Moscow was calling his bluff, and certainly the noises coming out of the Kremlin suggest that they have no interest in President Trump's peace plan, what does President Trump do now? Does he reconsider supplying Ukraine with those Tomahawk missiles? Does he impose, as he's promised before, a punishment on Moscow, or does he yet again give Vladimir Putin a second chance? Ukraine is, of course, waiting to hear. Meanwhile, its focus is on shoring up its allegiances with its European friends, with big meetings planned tomorrow and Friday.
Indeed, and of course all of this comes as the bitter winter in Ukraine approaches as well. Thank you very much for speaking to us there from Kyiv, John Sudworth.